goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off the enrollment fee. The next challenge begins on March 23rd. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And electrical.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? Happy Tuesday. This is Jay Foreman live from 1040 O Street, the sports mecca of sports radio. This is Old School, myself, Austin Norman. We are brought to you by the Mercado Certified Piedmontese Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop located at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill. There are two Lincoln locations and one in Omaha. But whenever we have a special guest, I do get excited. And especially because, you know what? When you have a special guest that's never given me a technical foul, then I love it, right? But without further ado, we got Dominique Johnson and Kenzie from the Boys and Girls of Lincoln. Has some pretty big announcements, but there's already been announced, right?
Yes,
what you guys are doing.
Announced. Yep.
So without further ado, welcome to our new home, right? Because you were back at our, well, I guess old one and seeing the new digs. But appreciate you guys coming down. What you guys are doing. It was obviously dear to me. I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club, both in Phoenix, Frederick, Maryland, and Minneapolis. So, I'm right at home with that. I know the positives that you guys do and the things that you guys are selfless in the things that you do for the community and young knuckleheads like myself. But without further ado, introduce yourself to the afternoon listeners. We're the old school listeners, so we do a lot of old school stuff. So welcome, introduce yourself, and then we'll get into what you guys got going on here in the future.
Hi, my name is Kenzie Cook, and I'm the program director at Park Middle School. So I get to hang out with all the middle school kiddos with BGC every day, and it's been really awesome.
Where is Park Middle School?
It's on 8th and G, right?
Okay.
Close to downtown.
All right.
Yeah.
And I am Dominique Kelley Johnson, very new to the position. I am our CEO and just kind of overseeing all the operations and supporting Kenzie and her efforts and the rest of our program directors. So,
I listen. I like it when you guys are coming to just roll. All right, I just do this, do that. You guys gotta give yourself some love, man. You guys are being way too humble, because you guys are doing a lot of great things. But without get into it. Tell us about what you guys are doing it's in the summer, right? It's late July to August.
Yep. So we actually have some camps that are coming up,
Right.
and a huge 3-on-3 event actually on May 19th.
Okay, so let's do the 3-on-3 3-on-3 event first, because that's awesome. Because obviously people
We're
don't
trying
know.
to bring it back. Yeah.
Great basketball coach made everybody mad when she decided to go to the Boys and Girls Club. But tell us about, first of all, from your experience, because I love 3-on-3. I think it's just as good as 5-on-5 if you do it right. Talk about the 3-on-3 tournament and the benefits of it, and then also where the proceeds go to help not only what you guys are doing, but these young kids in Lincoln.
For sure. So 3-on-3, I think has many perks, and as you said, can sometimes be more valuable than 5-on-5. I remember kind of growing up in the round ball ruckus days and the hoop it up tournaments that were outdoor, and those were always really big events and things for our community. And so I'm not really the gala girl. So when I got here and we kind of thought about an annual event that we would like to have, Claire Shin, our resource development and marketing person, were like, what about a 3-on-3 tournament? So to me, it made a lot of sense. We have partnered with Supreme. And so it's going to be an indoor thing for folks with bad knees. But it's going to be a beautiful event, we hope. And youth teams can play for $150. Adult teams can play for $200, and all the proceeds will come back to our local Boys and Girls Club and support the efforts and the programming that Kinsey and her staff do, and also at Northwest High School and North Star High School as well. So.
And what are the dates again?
So the 3-on-3 event is May 19th. It's a Sunday. It's the Sunday after Mother's Day.
All right.
Yep, it's an indoor event. We're gonna have a dunk contest. We're gonna have a 3-point shooting contest.
Get after it, Jay. Come on, Jay.
Is it 8-foot hoops?
10.
Oh.
Well, we can lower it for you. If that helps you get involved.
I need a declining scale, and I'll get on that 8-foot hoop, but
Okay.
I can't get on 10 anymore though.
Okay, well we'll do 8, and I'll hold you to that.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be really special, and I think people are gonna be really excited about it.
And Kinsey, tell us about some of the programs that you head up, because I think that's pretty special as well.
Yeah, absolutely. For our mission with Boys and Girls Club, we want to be able to expose students, even in the middle school space, to workforce development, even if that means learning customer service skills or being able to get creative and bring in guests for our Career Quest Club to expose them to what their life could look like and where they could go in maybe ways they hadn't thought possible. We also really emphasize creative arts and sports, obviously. And we just really want our kids in that space to not just be at any after school program or space, but feel like they're leaving and really taking away something that can help them reach their goals in their life, which I think helps us stand out from other after school spaces.
I always wanted to ask you guys, just because of my experience in the Boys and Girls Club is like, and then obviously kind of doing some mentor stuff and just running into kids that I used to see, and obviously through coaching. Tell us about some of the special moments that you get in your job, because I think obviously you come in and we're talking about different events, and you talk about the programs, but I think sometimes our listeners and just people in general don't understand the type of impact that sometimes young knuckleheads like myself that I was have some sort of an impact on you guys. So can you talk about a couple stories that come to mind about your experiences?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the basic level, having a consistent space where kids can go after school if they don't have other options, and have staff welcoming them. They know them by name. They know what they like and what they don't, and they're checking in on them. And we're open 3 to 7. So and they get dinner with us. So we're like part of their family.
Right.
I see a lot of kids, maybe in ways they aren't able to open up with teachers during the school day, bringing some of the things they're going through to us and being able to connect with families and support them through life things. So I think at that level, we are a support system for them, and students feel really safe with us.
Right. Well, what about you, Dominique?
Absolutely. I mean, this is why I wanted to bring Kinsey today, because she's, like I said, she's kind of the face of it all. But just to add to what she talked about, I think it's very important to note that our club membership for the entire school year is $20.
Right.
So when people think about different places and organizations they want to give to, the whole experience is valued at $5,000. But to support a kid in our after school program only cost $20. So
Yeah,
those dollars go a really long way.
Yeah, that's amazing because most likely people think it's a lot of money, which $20 is a lot of money. But when you think about for a whole year, $20 is pretty feasible because for a lot of people like myself, I know I probably waste $20 on stuff. Well, first of all, I like candy, and maybe I need to give away the candy bars. Dominique, I wanted to ask you from going from coaching.
Yep.
Whereas, especially in the high school where you have to check grades, you gotta kind of be anywhere from from a coach to a mentor to a
everything.
Accountability police, everything. Talk about the transition from that and your experiences in that, which is you had to grow, as you started to coach, and obviously coming from a player.
Yeah.
Then you kind of put on another hat, but then go from there to now to this position. Talk about that because correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe some of the experience that you had as a coach, and probably a player before, helped you make a great transition to CEO.
For sure. And I don't like to reference myself as a CEO. I just try to be a team player. But all in all, so the mission of the Boys and Girls Club is to empower all youth to reach their full potential. So for me, there were so many parallels. The work is the same.
Right.
It just looks a little bit different. Day to day, I'm not interacting with students in the same capacity that I was. But much like you, I was a kid who grew up in community centers, and a lot of the success that I've had today can be attributed to that after school programming and those community centers. And so for me, just coming in and listening, I kind of like to say that I have two leadership styles. Sometimes you have to lead a little bit more forcefully, and then once you get that culture established and built, then it kind of works for itself. So you just kind of take a back seat.
Right.
And so this is a little bit different because there are a lot of adults involved. And so I'm just trying to collaborate with Kinsey and the rest of my staff, and give when we can give. And when there are areas that we have to kind of switch some things up in, we've done that also. But always providing the why behind everything, I think, in this current role has been very imperative to me. And I've gotten amazing buy-in from our leadership team and the community. And, I know a lot of people were kind of bummed to see me walk away from coaching, but at the heart of it, the work is still the same for me. So it made a lot of sense. And I feel like I'm able to be so much more present for my own family.
Well, and that's most important. Yeah. Right. Kinsey, I wanted to ask you about the importance of after school. And, well, people don't really understand. They do, but I think majority of people, as they're just driving up and down, say, O Street, really don't understand how important it is for kids to go to have somewhere to go, to the confidence, right? So for me, my dad was working, so he couldn't get from, even after practice, he couldn't get there. So to have somewhere where I could say, hey, can you drop me off there? Or to get someplace. Talk about that, just because of it's not only the safety, from the regular safeties, but the safety to say, you know what, this is where I can go.
Right.
And how that can impact a young, boy or girl to lead to bigger things in their future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I learned when I was teaching is that kids, especially younger kids, thrive when there's structure, even if they don't make it seem that way, that they love having a place that they know that they're used to, that there's a set schedule. They're going to go do this at this time. They're going to eat dinner at this time. I think that's really, really important for kids in the after school time. And while it doesn't feel like school, it is fun and we get to do cool things, but it provides them a sense of stability. So they're not going home and maybe being on their own and playing video games and doing that, which is also great for community, but it gives them substance and a place to be that's meaningful.
Right. Hey, listen, a busy kid is always a kid that you know where he's at. You know, trust me, keep him busy. That's the one. Trust me, I know. Now on to the programs where you have Impact Youth, right?
Yep.
Right. And then you have another one for volleyball with it.
Yeah. So we have 3 of them. I'm super grateful to Nebraska and just being able to kind of piggyback on my connections as a former student athlete. But men's and women's basketball will have a basketball camp that is July 29th through August 1st.
Right.
Yep. And then our volleyball camp will be a 3-day camp towards the end of June 24th through the 27th. So we are really, really excited for kids like Boys and Girls Club kids to be able to have this opportunity that probably honestly they wouldn't otherwise ever be able to have. We've made it affordable. We are also in the process of raising funds to scholarship kids. We have sponsorship information out there about that right now. So if anybody's interested, we would love to partner with you and collaborate. But it's an access thing, right? And
Right.
so, and that's really important to me from my time at Lincoln High. And again, just being a kid who grew up in this community with a single parent who busted her butt to afford me the opportunities I've had in life. And so that's what we're trying to do, just provide that access, those experiences and those opportunities. And I'm truly grateful to Nebraska for the partnership and all that they're doing to support our mission and vision.
Yeah, not just the city of or the state of Nebraska, city of Lincoln, and obviously the connections, but also, give a big shout out to Supreme and VCN as well.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, and they're two of the biggest, I guess clubs or whatever you want to call it in the state, and for them to be able to give back and reach back to make this an option is also, you got to give them credit, but then also it's a credit to you guys as well, and in what you've done in your jobs at the Boys and Girls Club of Nebraska. I think it's great just because of not only are you doing it for the right reasons, but then also you're exposing a lot of kids to the good things about sports. And people don't. I always tell people when you're playing sports, like the score don't mean it. That's small stuff, right? This is like
you can say that because you're a national champion, Jay. Come on.
Listen.
Exactly.
Well, I had to say,
I was thinking that. Jay, come on, man.
The score. Listen, you see me. I'm competitive now.
Yes.
Okay, I won't win and everything. What I'm saying is the things that you can learn.
Absolutely.
From going to one of these camps or sports can be something that when you're, I'm 48 years old, you could think about. I still remember when I went to my first basketball camp.
Yep.
And it was through the Boys and Girls Club, and then we were able to take that, and then I went to like a St. Cloud State camp, and I don't know how many years ago, 30 some years ago, and so the impact that you guys are doing, I think is can't put a measurement on it, and it's really I commend you guys for doing it because the Boys and Girls Club is great, and then obviously sports is great. I never played volleyball, and but I do think it's really good that where you have club teams and to support them. So for our listeners, right, we have good listeners that always try to either donate and support, and we'll put it out on our social media. And as we get closer to May for the 3-on-3, and then obviously when we get a little bit closer to August or July and August, we'll have you guys back. But tell us where they can find you on your website, and is all the information there. And give everybody their website, and we'll put it out after we post it on social media as well.
Yeah.
For sure. So we have flyers with QR codes already on them, and I will get you the links to those camp registrations and websites on each of those. So there's one for basketball, one for volleyball, and then one for our 3-on-3 event. And there is a link to donate actually right on there. If you're interested in knowing a little bit more about it, you can actually just call our local Boys and Girls Club, and that number is 531-500-1084, and just ask to speak to myself or Claire. And we would love to sit down with you and tell you a little bit more about how your gift can impact several of our kids' lives.
That's big. Now, listen, it's tomorrow it starts. I told you before I can't let you go. And a coach is a coach.
A coach is a
player is a
coach.
player. I always tell people, I was telling Austin, right before like training camp, you start it's just like Jay
starts walking different.
Yeah.
We all see it.
It is. You feel it, right? But reality is I can't run up and down the street. It's state tournament time.
Yeah.
You feel it. And people don't understand what it's like. I always tell me and DP have arguments here about coaching. Like you do everything all week, and you got to sit here on the sidewalk and watch and hope and pray they actually do what they can do or did for 20 times in a row. Talk about the feeling of going not only just from the sideline, but then, going off and now watching from afar.
Yeah, I'm excited to just kind of be a spectator. I too am very competitive, and I haven't completely walked away. I'm coaching some third graders this winter. So I've gotten my fix in that capacity and regard, but I still follow very closely. Last year we played, we obviously lost in the state finals. We played Millard West in our opening in the round of 8. And I was so impressed by them. I was so impressed by their coaching. They were the team that honestly made me the most nervous. Because at this level, to find 5 kids out there on the court that can all dribble, pass, and shoot the 3 ball makes you very dangerous. And so I was extremely nervous about drawing them and as the 2 seed. And they're back in the tournament. And I actually said right after we played them last year that that's who I was picking to win this year. And they have certainly delivered. I think they're like 24-1 maybe or something like that. They lost one game to the top, to number 20, Johnston in Iowa. So they've certainly delivered. They're very experienced. They have a few Power 5 recruits on their team. And so that's kind of my pick to win it all. But super excited to just be a spectator this year. The game has given me a lot, and I'm very grateful for my time at Lincoln High and what I was able to do, but certainly looking forward to just hiding in the background and watching.
I hear that. Well, I got a couple more questions because we didn't get in a heated argument, but I've taken some shots now. They've been coming at your boy. You know, I stand on business though. You know, I always say the mindset from Lincoln to Omaha is different.
For sure.
And that's why I just can't understand. I can't get myself to get there. Nobody believes me. But
about that the mindset's different?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so for people out there that want to get mad at me, you know, I got some backup here, and you know, and she's been right in it. Talk about the difference. Well, first of all, I want to ask you a couple questions. Talk about the experience of taking the leap of faith, going to Lincoln High, right? Which isn't the easiest place, right?
Yeah.
Right. And accepting the challenge and then embracing it. Because I think there's 2 different things. When you accept the job, you're accepting the challenge. But when you embrace it, in my opinion, it turns quicker. So talk about your experience of building that program, building those young ladies up. And I watched you from the year before in the state tournament, and then coming back and going a little bit far. Talk about that, because I don't think people really understand that process in Lincoln. And then we'll touch on the difference between Lincoln and the Metro.
For sure. I think there is something to be said about how, I mean, and I don't just see this in basketball, full transparency.
Right.
Jay, you probably see this with youth football.
Right.
There is something about it. I don't know if it's an access thing or what, but there is certainly something that feels different in Omaha than it does in Lincoln. That being said, as much credit as I would like to take at Lincoln High, and I did put in a lot of time, energy, effort, blood, sweat, tears, all of that. I spoke earlier about leading 2 different ways. And so I think you lead vocally and then you lead by example. What everybody saw last year at Lincoln High and why there were so many tears behind it was because it was a culmination of like 4 years that took us to get to that point. Last year, though, they saw me leading a lot, just like I said, kind of behind the scenes. When things kind of got hectic and chaotic, I would kind of have to step in. But we had been working towards that for 4 years. And when I first got there, a lot of what I was doing was leading by example. And, you know, those kids, they didn't really believe that they were good enough or that they had the tools and the resources to be successful. They also, I don't always like to use this excuse, but I know it was really real living through the pandemic, and all that entailed. But slowly but surely, every day I was preaching the right things and I was being consistent, like Kenzie talked about how important and imperative that is for our kids, especially our brown and our black kids. And so I just showed up every day. I worked hard. I modeled what I wanted them to become. And then after a while, it just honestly kind of started working for themselves. They understood the importance of going to class and practicing hard and setting aside kind of all the other BS. And then once they kind of started seeing it pay off dividends for them, they bought in. And so, yeah, I was a big part of that, but a lot of it was them believing in me too, right? It works both ways. And so we worked really hard on building good and healthy relationships and taking feedback and being coachable, and me also having to receive some of that feedback and have them tell me things sometimes like, well, you could say it differently, Nick, or we could have, we could have approached this in a different capacity than we did. It was a 2-way street. But yeah, it was rewarding because those kids bought in and invested and believed in me also. And so we didn't go out on top, so to speak, but we did.
Yeah.
Those kids are winners and they're all in college and they're thriving. And a lot of them had faced a lot of adversity in their first year of college, you know, because there are still COVID kids playing at 22, 23 years old. So some of my kids have seen very little time, and that's the first time in their playing careers that's happened. But because they stood the test of time with me and we got over all those hurdles, they've made it in college and they haven't checked out and they didn't walk away at semester. And so to me, those are all successes and that makes them winners in life.
All right, one more question before we let you go is I always say there's a difference in Lincoln and Omaha sports. I don't, like I said, I don't know why or whatever, because I always say this, man, you could go and walk around the mall or, walk through Lincoln High. I could put a basketball squad together from Lincoln High. Now, granted, I know it's different. You got to get some skills and stuff to it, but talk about the difference because you've seen it because you've refed it, which she hasn't told you. She refed a lot of games. So you've seen it when Omaha teams come down here from Lincoln or for coming down from Omaha to Lincoln and some of the tournaments that you ref, you see the difference. So from your perspective, and a former coach's perspective and an athlete, give us your opinion.
Well, I think again, especially from a developmental standpoint, and when dealing with particularly, honestly, kids of color, I think Omaha does a little bit. They do it differently. They get more involvement. And they're getting parents kind of invested at an earlier age. And so a lot of those parents are kind of invested in their kids' sports experience. They're coaching the kids. You see a lot more kind of accountability. You don't see a lot of kids from Omaha talking back to coaches and, the same way that you sometimes see those things in Lincoln. But I think it is a mindset thing. And I think for as much as we talk about working on the physical part of the game and the developmental side of the game, that also has to be done between the ears too.
Right.
And there certainly appears to be an edge there a little bit. And I think there's a real opportunity in Lincoln for us to continue to grow in that regard and help our kids with like their mental and emotional training to kind of give them that edge to push them over for certain.
Right.
So
Kenzie, I can't let you go. We got the hardest question out here. Is she taking you out in the court yet and you went one-on-one or what?
I really hope not.
If people don't know, Kenzie's dad, used to keep us all in check.
Yep.
For the people out there, Kenzie, everybody thinks I was a little bit of a problem when I was in college. Tell them. Dennis never came home and complained about Jay Foreman.
Yeah, he never did.
Yeah,
he never did.
Oh man, thank you guys for coming in. We'll put out your information. We want you guys to come back. You're always welcome. You know that. So leading up to May, in another month or so, we'll get it out there. We'll make sure we'll get as many people there especially for 3-on-3, and then also for the camps because you guys are doing a lot of great things. And appreciate you guys coming in. Always enjoy seeing you guys. We're gonna take a break. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Haviland. This week's specials through February 27th is whole brisket for just $4.99 per pound and $1.50 off all nuts, including Treat Bake Shop and Twin Springs pecans. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
Ready to upgrade your combine in 2024? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine to fit your operations needs. Choose from 4.5% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver, followed by John Deere financial rates with approved credit through the end of February. When you purchased a pre-owned S or X Series combine from Landmark, know you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running. View our current inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
At Planet Fitness, Leap Day means an extra day of energy. And who doesn't love energy? To celebrate, now through February 29th, you can join for 29 cents down, $10 a month, and pay nothing until March 17th. Even better, you'll get free fitness training and equipment for every workout, with most clubs open 24 hours. So take advantage of your extra day and get energized at Planet Fitness. Join for 29 cents down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and pay nothing until March 17th. Deal ends February 29th. See Home Club for details.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Stop by the brand new Midwest Bank this Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. for their grand opening. J&DP will be broadcasting on-site for Old School, and there will be tons of prizes available for anyone who stops by, as well as complimentary food and drinks. That's this Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. at Midwest Bank on 70th and Pioneers.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jay Foreman back with Austin Old School. Again, Dominic Johnson and Kenzie coming in from Boys and Girls Club of Lincoln. Got some great events. Got 3-on-3 Hoop It Up coming up here in May.
Who's your ticket 3-on-3 team?
Well, Strick. It's Strick. Strick's everything. We're going to do
Strick.
No, Strick.
Strick, E-Strick, and Stricky?
No, we'll just take one Strick. Okay. Whatever his basketball third person name is, we're going to take Strick. Then I know we're going to take Bach because he can shoot. I've had five different people he can shoot. I'm bringing you in there, Austin.
Okay.
And how many? You can usually get 5, right?
4 to 5, yeah.
Okay. Then let me see who else. I'm going to have Raph because I need a big body and some fouls.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I'll be on there.
Okay.
So Raph is the guy that if somebody's getting hot and going to the rack.
Go get him.
Yeah, making sure he don't finish the game.
You and I can alternate player coaches.
Yeah. Because I'm good for 2 possessions.
Well, Strick says he's good for 5 minutes in the corner, so we might be in trouble.
No, Strick he better stay. We gotta load manage Strick.
His favorite thing.
Yeah. Well, me too. You better load manage me too, because listen, my first play might be the last. But Austin, we got about 10 minutes here. I don't know if you saw it, but Russell Wilson had a sit down with Brandon Marshall, and he went through, I guess, all the things that actually happened to him in Denver last year. And, where, he was playing good, and then he gets a call and says, if you don't rework your contract, we're going to bench you for the next 9 games. And, he went through that. Then obviously he showed up when they beat Buffalo at Buffalo. Up until the night before the game. So he flew to Buffalo not knowing if he was going to play or not. And then they reeled off like 4 or 5 games, and then obviously it came out. Obviously, somebody released it, but there's a lot of players get heat because they, want their money. This is the perfect example why you get your money. And you never bend. And, one of the things that really stuck out, you can say whatever you want about Russell Wilson. I think Russell came in, like I said, I worked out with Russell. I think the Russell that came into the league quickly changed when he got after that first Super Bowl and kind of got into stardom. And then he had to get humbled. But I will tell you this, the one thing that he did, he said, I did not want to set the precedent of a player that pushed back their injury waiver. And that would have cost him some money and cost some players some money. Knowing it, and 2 reasons. Number one, he knew for him personally, the long-term ramifications that it would do to his reputation among players in the league, legacy, X, Y, and Z. But then also for him to stand pat and understand the influence that he could have by standing up to the powers that be. I can only imagine. I mean, heck, the only time I used to always joke to people when we were in Houston, and Bob McNair would come in and a couple of the assistant GMs, and they would one guy always come. I'd always joke with Kylie Wong because he was an outside lineman, so we'd always walk in between drills or whatever. And he'd be like, Jay, there he goes. And he'd always have he had these FootJoy shoes or, golf shoes. And they'd just be slightly untied, loosened up. And they'd have grass stains on them. So you could tell he'd been golfing recently. I said, yeah, he probably, I always tell Kylie, yeah, he was probably on hole 16 thinking about how he's going to get rid of it. And so that's the only interactions that back when I played, because there was no communication, is that where you'd see somebody like that from upper management. So for them to approach him multiple occasions, both indirectly and directly to his agent and to everybody else, and make it be known to him that essentially we are going to try to, we're going to make this a peer pressure. I wouldn't say
we're going to turn you into the villain almost.
Yeah, but my point is, I don't think it was bully, but I think they were trying to manipulate him into it, right? Either you do this or else, right?
Yeah.
Is that manipulation?
Yeah.
Okay, so do this or else.
Blackmail,
all that stuff. Let's throw espionage in there too. I like that word. I love that word when they say espionage. I know it's not, but I was watching something. I was
subterfuge.
I was watching like a
chicanery.
Espionage. That gets me so. It's just amazing that in this day and age, in 2024, this is what you're doing. And I always remembered when they played Detroit, the Nick Sainer, Detroit Lions, and the center snapped. First of all, the left guard was offside. That has nothing to do with Russell Wilson. Nothing to do with Russell Wilson. This dude jumped outside, and the center snapped it too early. And remember, Sean Payton berated him and broke him down in front of everybody. Now you know why. Because they were trying to get him to react, because they were saying on it, if he did react in a way, a combative way, or whatever they deemed it, it could be contract or conduct detrimental to the team. It could have voided his contract. So for Russell Wilson to go out there and he actually started to play really well, to do that and under that immense pressure every day when you're going to work. That's a hostile work environment. And I don't use it. I don't use that type of lingo, but it is. I mean, I never had to. I'm sure that they wanted to get rid of you sometimes. Like, dang, we need to get some. We ain't get no return on investment from that dude. But never did I go to work in the NFL with that type of pressure during the season. Now, the closest I could think of, I remember the first year of Greg Williams, and it's a contract year, and Greg Williams he was playing mind games with me. I mean, straight up, I was losing sleep. But we were in our third preseason game, and it was one of those things that when you're a starter, you play 3 plays, you can't make no plays. 3 plays, you can't. I ain't even breaking a sweat. Then the next game, you might not, you're kind of out there trying to play too perfect. Boom, you're in the third preseason game. That's the make or break because the fourth is a dress rehearsal. And I remember I think his name was Miles Aldridge. That was the linebacker coach, country boy. He was, and he didn't have any like allegiance to me, and I was a guy that I was in my contract year. I'd played well the previous 2.5 years. But I wasn't the household name, but I'd played well, right? Established myself prior. So, and I was the easy pickings, you know what I mean? Kind of to myself, real laid back or whatever. I remember coming up to Pittsburgh he was like, you need to have a good game or they're going to cut you or you know what. I was like, what? I was like, are you serious? It's like, this is what you think how you going to inspire? This is what as I'm walking into the locker room. Now, mind you, I already know it because I already been, not that they were going to cut me. But, when you're going to a contract year, I had certain things I wanted to reach, And, I knew I'd play, but, things worked itself out. Now, granted, that's the closest I've been, but I've never been to the point to where even when I signed one of my, second or third contracts to where the coach was like, hey, man, that injury waiver, you want to play? All right. If you want, you got to sign your life away and sign your contract away. I never had anything like that.
See, that's a couple things on that. First of all, we know Russell Wilson's a good dude, right? By all accounts, maybe corny, maybe goofy, but a good dude, right? I respect him, standing up for other people, understanding his platform.
Right.
That's huge. Don't love it from Denver because both sides had to sign the contract, right?
Yeah.
Regardless, Denver didn't sign the contract. Russell Wilson did. I mean, I guess Denver did because they offered it, right? But it was negotiation. Denver supposedly got what they wanted out of the deal. They were comfortable with it. But then they get to it. It's not what they thought it was going to be. They didn't take into consideration the risk. They thought it would never get there. Well, here's the thing. That risk was always there. So now you want to backtrack but not give Russell Wilson the ability to? That's completely one-sided. It's completely unfair. And that's where, too, Russell Wilson wasn't great to start the year. New system, new coach,
and didn't
new
play
teammates.
well the year before, and he was an easy target because of all the things he did. Having an office at the not being very friendly or open with his teammate is all he created it, but by no means did he deserve it.
Absolutely not. And that's where the incentive structure of contracts in sports is still just so weird from the outside. Because I think about those rookie scale deals.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you're just entering your prime, right? You have some really good years, you bust onto the scene, and the teams are, getting you for cheap.
Yeah.
Essentially getting your services for cheap, right? Then it comes time to pay you. Well, yeah, you're good, but are you good enough for this? You're good enough for that. The guys that overperform the massive contracts are few and far between.
Yeah.
The Mike Trouts, the Aaron Donalds that are worth every penny of their deal.
Tom Brady's and all
right.
That. Right.
And it's just a natural thing. Better, you and Strick know better than anybody at the station how your body breaks down after years in the league.
Right.
So the money that, say, Russell Wilson deserves that when he was playing well in his rookie deal doesn't necessarily always catch up to him at the end of his career, right? His best years, he was getting paid less. So now his quote-unquote worst years, he's getting paid more, which is backwards, but that's the way it kind of has to be. Maybe it doesn't have to be, but it's the way it's always been because contract negotiations, again, I'd love your perspective on this, can be a hassle. Aren't something you want to focus on. A lot of back and forth, a lot of time, potentially a distraction. So you don't want to go year to year with a deal. The team wants to pay guys, for what they're going to be. Well, I think players want to get paid for what they've done. And I think both sides are absolutely right. There's just never been a great reconciling of those facts.
Yeah, and especially in football, because, the NFL can retire you at any point in time.
Right.
And look, Sean Payton and his crew, they weren't there when they signed the contract. But here's what I will say, and I like Sean Payton. Obviously a little abrasive. I think he probably forgot where he was, because when you go from being on TV and can pretty much say anything and do anything without any ramifications to coaching a team, I think it took him a little while to understand, okay, I'm back in the arena. I am the leader. So this doesn't, how I handle Russell affects Jay Foreman as a linebacker, so forth and so on. But, I don't think you take the job, right, not knowing how many draft picks you got, what the salary cap looks like, what free agents you potentially could have, how many draft picks that you have in the first, say, 3 years, who potentially you want to sign. You don't take the job like that. You don't take it sight unseen unless you're Mike Riley, right? Where you're going to get fired and then they double your salary, or you and all your buddies. Sean Payton had a high-paying job. He's great on TV. So he did his research, right? Matter of fact, Denver had to trade to get him. So you know how your agent knows how many draft picks you got. So that's where the problem was. I think contract negotiations in football are always tricky because there's two ways to think about it, and depends on the team that you're doing it, right? Like there's some teams that pay you on potential. You see a lot of guys that'll be average players and get paid Pro Bowl level players because they go to the right situation and it's the right time. But then some teams, say like Pittsburgh Steelers, that generally take care of their players, they'll pay you based on what you earn. Former roommate of mine, Mike Rucker, when he played for Carolina, Jerry Richardson was the owner, and he said, "Listen, I don't need to put incentives in there. I expect you to play well, so I'm going to pay you well." It's just the approach, how you approach it. Some people look at it like, okay, we pay you, and then all of a sudden the next meeting they're trying to sit up here and go after the bigger and the more productive players, saying you're not worth what they're giving you. But they'll let it slide with the cheaper players because they think they're cheap, which is actually the wrong way to think about it. If you have your bigger name players that are good model citizens, good in the locker room, good in the stadium, and in the meeting rooms, and obviously on the field, those are the ones that you continue to pay, and you want them to be your biggest advocates. The guys that you really need to bring up and push harder are the guys that are trying to be on the come up, because that's how you win. Those are going to be your nuts and bolts guys. So when you look at like people staying at the Patriots for, why? Because they're appreciated, right?
Slater.
Slater. Teddy Bruschi probably could have left. Vrabel stayed forever. Willie McGinnis stayed forever. Why? They're appreciated. They're appreciated because the coach and all them appreciate what they do, how they perform, and it works, and they're winning. And so the most important thing is to win, and what they're going to do is they're going to put winners out there. And so, Denver, I think, was in a little bit of a gray area this year where they won't admit it, had a very high-priced QB. Everybody falls into this trap that you can get a young QB and you only can win on a rookie contract. That obviously ain't true. And then you didn't know whether you wanted to tank or not. And that's it. They started out not wanting to tank. Oh, we lost a few games. Maybe we should tank. Oh, we won some more games. We're actually in the playoff hunt. Let's not do that. Let's pump the brakes on that. And so that's where they were at. They couldn't get out of their own way. And, they couldn't figure out which way is up. And that's how, but then you went and attacked Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson can never walk in that locker room and have the respect, not because he lost it, not because he didn't work hard. He did things this offseason, because obviously forced by Sean Payton, to try to improve, his lead, his respect in the locker room. You took that all away in Detroit. You left it in Detroit. You demasculated him, man, to the point. And the thing is where Denver, and here's the thing, here's a good analogy, right? It's like Denver and Russell Wilson in their contract, in that contract, is like they showed up and one of the persons that's in the relationship has something that particularly wasn't like the best, or how they got in the past, right? So then they're sitting up there trying to hold their present day partner accountable for something that somebody did in the past. And it's not going to work that way. So you know what they did? Guess what the worst thing they did? They went out and started listening to their friends. right? That don't have anything invested. So who are their friends? The other media people, all the people outside telling you what to do. That's your friends telling you what to do with your business, right? They aren't paying your bills. They ain't going home with, with your partner, with, in this case, Russ, right? He's your quarterback. They're not taking into account that how it's affecting other people, which is family of the friends and nuclear family friends. They're just having an outside opinion because they have nothing to invest. That's the easy thing to do. Denver fell trapped to that. That's no different than other people listening to other people outside of what they should be doing. So it's a lesson learned, because what they might do is sitting around looking and thinking that they're sweet and think, oh, I can get the next Jalen Hurts. I can get this. It's easy to get a Russell Wilson. Oh no. Yeah. You're gonna let that Hall of Famer go, and then you have an egg on your face, and then you're gonna try to say, oh, can we get back what they trying to do now? Maybe it's not so, oh, I didn't mean it. Yeah, you did, because you left him on read. You ghosted Russ, right? And you was willing to leave him like that. So that's where they missed the point. It's no different than anything else. It's a I always say sports to show you it's just a relationship. So they were so quick to dispense of a player like Russ and didn't even take into the account of everything that he did on a good thing, right? They didn't even say, man, you know what? This dude's actually probably more mentally tough than you think of. Yeah, he's got some issues and stuff like that, or some stuff like. But for that dude to be playing like that, that's commendable.
Seemed kind of short-sighted,
right? And that's what usually happens. And if you're short-sighted in your relationship with a team, which is a relationship with a sport or a relationship period. So just say if you're short-sighted, right? Say you're playing well and they say, okay, we'll just give you like $1 million a year. Short-sighted, I just need it right now. I got to be greedy. I got to satisfy it right now. But if you sit up there and say, okay, maybe I could get 2 times this for like 5 or 10 more years, because it's long-term, because I'm going to put in the work, nourish it, and I'm still here in a good place where somebody I can trust, or I can trust the organization. That's how you do it. Short-sighted is like, I just want to be greedy and to satisfy it. Then you come back with your tail between your legs. And then I would say you're stuck on stupid. So Denver stuck on stupid. It's hard for them to, and it's going to be, and here's why. It's going to be hard for them to recruit other free agents. Why? Players talk. You did this to him, you're going to definitely do it to me. Business is business. Every player knows this. That wasn't business. That was shady. That's some backdoor, catch you when you're coming out of the bathroom. Hey, I got to talk to you, and the next thing you know, the GM come around, there. The next thing you know, you cornered, right? And what are you going to do? You're going to put them on the spot. And, funny thing about that, before we go to break, I'll tell you this. Here's the only experience I have with that. So I was, I was in my, what's called a, tender. I finished out my rookie contract, so they can tender you. So it's kind of like based on where you get drafted. So if you want to do, like, I was a late round draft choice, so it was this. So if they did let's call it a medium tender, it would be paid that, say, like I was a second round pick, whatever the average was, with the CBA. And then if they want to put a high tender on it, that's the tender where, like, if they trade you or somebody else trades you, they'd have to give up a draft pick, which would be a first round draft pick, a third, or for my case, it'd be a 5th round draft pick. So I, signed my tender or whatever. But I'm mad as all heck. So we didn't have the internet, back then, but there was only one site you could get the news. It was kffl.com. I don't even know if it's still out there. And I dial up internet. And I'm back in Minneapolis at my place, and so it's the combine, right? In trying to figure, is it still?
If you type in kffl.com, it takes you to thehuddle.com.
And then that's probably got bought. So I was like, oh, let me check it, right? You know what I'm saying? It's the combine or whatever. And to be honest with you, Austin, I'd went out with some of the homies, to kicking it. You had a fire going, and it says Buffalo Bills signed Eddie Robinson Jr. They're gonna sign Eddie Robinson Jr. So he happened to be a linebacker that played for Greg Williams, right? And I knew he played my spot, right? I'm like, dang, I balled out, thinking like, you gonna sign this dude, So I was, in my feelings or whatever. So I told my agent, man, I ain't going to mini camps and stuff. He's like, you got to go, and you don't want him to hold it against you. And I'd signed a lease and stuff like that. And went through workouts, and it was like I had the scarlet letter when I walked into the facility because everybody knew something was up. Right? Everybody knew except me, right? You know what I mean? You're working out, and everybody's like, "Dang, you still here?" You know what I mean? yeah, I'm still here. So I got taped up in Austin. I was ready for like war. I had like my hands taped up. I was ready to. I was just not in a good place. So I'm all taped up, ready to go for practice. And I remember talking to Danny Smith, and this is why I love Danny Smith. He's a special team coach at Pittsburgh, and he was so close. I still talk to him now. He was in my wedding, and so because he kept it real with me. He said, "Listen, man, that dude ain't better than you, but we know the politics. Go to training camp, beat him out." Right? So he talked about that. He talked to me, and he's like, "I know you hot." And the thing about Danny, he was like, as I was walking, and he let me cuss the whole time. He would cut me off, send me over here. I'd be cussing, and I threw my helmet. He's like, "Don't do that, Jay." And he always has this big old thing of water gum. So then I'm in the stretch line. Here comes Greg Williams, and Greg Williams is always walking.
Mind games, Greg.
Yeah, but by the time once I established myself, he left me alone.
Okay.
And I appreciated what he was doing because I got mentally stronger from it. And he taught me a lot in the passing game. So, I mean, it wasn't all bad. But he'd always have his whistle while he was walking. And he's like, hey, Foreman, can I talk to you real quick? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we can talk, right? So I get up, leave my helmet, and I'm walking up. And so then these dudes were smooth when they did it, Austin. So Greg sees me walking straight because I'm about to go face-to-face with the head coach, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm walking towards him, and he's here. But then he, like, pivots. And then it was like all in one motion. Boom. Right?
There's that arm.
Right. Arm on me. So to de-escalate me, right? You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Look, man, I know you mad, man." And he's like, "You was, hyping me up, like not hype. You're a leader, this, you're gonna be a great player, this. Now, mind you, talking in the past tense. I ain't even listening. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, what's up, man? What you want? As he's walking me, and I'll never forget, we went through the end zone. Here come Tom Donahoe out the thing, out the locker room. And he just business. Hey, man. Hey, you had a great year. We appreciate your service. Houston needed a starting linebacker. We needed a returner. We traded you. You got to go upstairs to Jim Orton or the Ordendorf, and he's going to get you situated, and we're going to move you. It was like that. And then this is the only mistake, I'm going to leave with this, that I made in my career. This is the only thing I wish I could have taken back. This is where Tom Donahoe, he doubled back on me and was like, "Yeah, I didn't think you was going to be that good. You surprised me." I was like, "F you, bleepity bleep bleep. I'm doing this to you next year." Gone. Them dudes is petty. Go play in Houston. Do great. And I'd said some things about Greg, I was like, man, because I was just like, man, he brought in this scrub, man. He was like, godfather of his kids, man. This dude ain't, can't, I was just stupid, wolfing. Could have went and played for the Redskins. They were still petty. They was, hey, man, Austin, 4 or 5 years later, they held it.
They don't forget, Jay.
Man. I was like, man, listen, I apologize, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry.
Walk a mile in my shoes. You know where I'm coming from.
Yeah. I was like, don't you realize what you did to your boy? Austin, they still was petty, man. But here's the thing about Greg, though. I ran into him in the Atlanta airport. You know what I'm saying? It was me and him. And he recognized me. Obviously, I'm a little older or whatever. We liked it. And we talked it out. Now, Greg's still crazy as all get out, right? And he's been in the league, and he's a great defensive coordinator, but he's like man to man. He's like, you know what? I understood where you came from. But I was like, you still owe me a check. I was like, I need a check, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Write it right here, right now.
Greg, let me get some of that. No, I'm just playing. But yeah. So anyways, man, that's a couple of story time. Again, thanks to Dominique Johnson and Kinsey coming in, Boys and Girls Club of Lincoln. They got some great events. We're going to pump that out on social media. I do have the PDF so you can donate. Also, you can sponsor some kids, throwing $20 a year. I definitely need to get on that. We're going to take a short break. I'm about to head out to Pius X, the home of Nick Sainert. Pius X against Omaha Central Eagles. Listen, here's the battle, okay? Nick Sainert, Pius X Thunderbolts. Omaha Central, Amon Green Eagles.
Oh no!
Oh yeah!
Oh no!
And you know what? They saw each other today. They weren't even betting. Anyway, yeah. Anyways, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll hand it over to DP because he's got some supernova stuff coming on. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. DP is back in full effect today. Old School, we are out.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and we have some really big savings for you right now. Our new crossover sale is underway. New Terrains, Equinoxes, and Trailblazers starting at $23,290. That's right, $23,290. Also, we've continued our huge Sierra and Silverado truck sale with over $10,000 off new pickups. You heard right, over $10,000 off list. Coppell truly has a small town feel with big city deals. We're right down 144th Street or at CoppellCars.com. Stock numbers G260980 and C119824.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Introducing The Outlet by Sartor Heyman. The Outlet brings you luxurious Sartor Heyman quality jewelry at unbeatable prices. Shop our expansive inventory of overstocked merchandise and a vast estate collection that just hasn't found its home yet. This is your chance to own stunning designer jewelry at a fraction of the cost. Elevate your style at The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, where luxury and affordability meet. Downtown at 12th and O or online at sartorheyman.com.
At Planet Fitness, Leap Day means an extra day of energy. And who doesn't love energy? To celebrate, now through February 29th, you can join for 29 cents down, $10 a month, and pay nothing until March 17th. Even better, you'll get free fitness training and equipment for every workout, with most clubs open 24 hours. So take advantage of your extra day and get energized at Planet Fitness. Join for 29 cents down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and pay nothing until March 17th. Deal ends February 29th. See Home Club for details.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Haviland. This week's specials through February 27th is whole brisket for just $4.99 per pound and $1.50 off all nuts, including Treat Bake Shop and Twin Springs pecans. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Delicious, decadent, scrumptious, delightful. What other words can I use to describe something so good I can't even tell it's healthy? How about heavenly? Chef Bob created heavenly waffles with an incredible fluffy recipe packed with protein and loaded with a plethora of angelic toppings to elevate the experience beyond the typical waffle and syrup. Don't just take our word for it. Join us for Heavenly Waffles Wednesday to experience heaven for yourself.
Enjoy Heavenly Waffles this Wednesday, February 28th from 8 to 11 a.m. in our 93.7 The Ticket studios. Parking is available along 11th Street and in nearby garages.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
Introducing The Outlet by Sartor Heyman. The Outlet brings you luxurious Sartor Heyman quality jewelry at unbeatable prices. Shop our expansive inventory of overstocked merchandise and a vast estate collection that just hasn't found its home yet. This is your chance to own stunning designer jewelry at a fraction of the cost. Elevate your style at The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, where luxury and affordability meet. Downtown at 12th and O or online at sartorheyman.com.
Ready to upgrade your combine in 2024? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine to fit your operations needs. Choose from 4.5% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver, followed by John Deere financial rates with approved credit through the end of February. When you purchase a pre-owned S or X Series combine from Landmark, know you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running. View our current inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hour number 2 of Old School. Oh, it's a voice that sounds familiar. It's good to be back, DP. Austin Orman with me. He's going to man the board and get us through the next hour before we hand it over for some high school rivalry basketball. At 6:30, Nick Sainert and Jay Foreman will bring you the call. 402-464-5685. Sartor Heyman text line. If you want to be a part of what we're doing for this hour, Austin Orman running the board. But please, kind sir, let them know about the Mercado.
Certified Piedmontese, every type of meat, every type of cut, as Jay Foreman would like to say. Don't forget 2 Lincoln locations, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill. Also one up in Omaha, 168th and Maple area. And hey, Friday lunch specials. Check them out.
We got to make sure that our next guest on the ILO VIP line gets exposure to the Mercado, because I'm not sure that they've had the treat that is literally the best food in the state of Nebraska. But let's bring on head coach of the Omaha Supernovas. I don't want to use the word interim because it just seems beneath her. Coach Bird. Coach, how are you today? What's happening?
Hi there. Good. How are you guys doing?
A long time no see.
I know, right?
You're officially my road dog, because we have been up and down the roads of the Pro Volleyball Federation. And I was telling Austin before we came back from the break that in trying to describe Coach Bird, there are a couple of things that jump out to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong. But you are absolutely popular in every port we land in. That every game there are people who show up for Coach Bird. Is that a statement of truth or no?
Well, I mean, I think it could just I've traveled a lot. Maybe it's just because I've been around too long, you know? But no, I think it's just the volleyball world. It's our community. Our volleyball community is a pretty tight-knit group. So I think that's what makes it cool. That's why I think this is taking off, because all of us we're all in it together.
But before we get too deep into the Supernovas and the Pro Volleyball Federation, give the folks the elevator pitch for a life that you've lived in full. It's complete, it's absolute, and pretty spectacular at high levels. You as an athlete, and you as an assistant coach, and now as the interim head coach of the Supernovas.
I think my elevator pitch would be that I've always based my life decisions on relationships and the feeling I get when I'm around certain people, and even when it comes to interviews and jobs. And so I think that's why maybe it seems more of a social thing for me. but it really has been. Even going to college, I wanted to go somewhere warm and to the South, and a big city, so I ended up in Atlanta. And then just throughout my career, I probably haven't made the popular choice, but I based it more on the people. And when I went on interviews and were in certain places, it just felt right. So I kind of like to establish that. That's kind of my style. I would say it's more style and relationships than anything.
Do you coach to your own personality profile? Is that the statement of truth?
I don't know, honestly. No, I would say no, because I am a pretty low-key, even-keeled, don't show a lot of emotion coach. And I love and gravitate towards strength coaches and, like, I can't use the words because they're not appropriate for the radio. But, like, my dad was my basketball coach. I love Coach Self at Kansas. I love coaches that are intense, and not that I'm not intense, but I'm very, like, even-keeled. I just don't really show emotion. But I think it's because there's basketball in my core, and, like, strength coaches, I always connect with them because I think there is an intensity, but I don't coach like that. Yeah. I never hardly get in people's faces. I'm very matter of fact, but I think I like being coached that way. So it's funny.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Austin before, I said, yeah, Austin, am I correct? How did I describe Coach Burt?
Word for word.
Like just that you're even keel in 5-set matches, all of 2-point games. The moment's never too big. You're never really, there's no chaos involved. It's make a play. And you feel prepared. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. There's enough chaos going on. I mean, I don't think there needs to be much more emotion. Now, when I watch volleyball, I definitely react.
Yeah, different deal.
But when I'm coaching it, there's no, it's like you kind of know what you want them to do and what you're expecting, so I don't really have to react.
Coach Bird, let me ask this question because the league, the Pro Volleyball Federation in year one, as we say, year one, you've been through 8 episodes of year one, and we didn't really know what the story was going to be. We were waiting for the character development to happen. We now know some things about the Supernovas that we didn't know 8 weeks ago. Okay. Can I ask you to define this season so far as you stand at 5-3 in your mind? Where do the new Supernovas stand?
I think that we are a work in progress, like any team right now in the league. But I think it's really cool to see everyone kind of finding their groove, I would call it. And the level of play continues to rise, and you can see the competitions. I mean, it was a fast start. It was like a cannonball of a start. You're putting the team together, and you're playing your matches, and you don't have like hardly any time to train. You're figuring out people's roles. And even now, like if you watch us, like we've had big time matches where we made subs and we change things up, and players come in and they just like seamlessly take over and they like do their job and have great matches. I think that for the Supernovas, that is cool. Like we have the depth and we have the flexibility to go to our bench, and it's not even. We need to come up with a different word. It's not even a bench. It's like what is the NASCAR? The pit. It's like the pit.
Yeah.
The pit crew.
Yeah.
Because it's like those people keep that car going that fast, and you never miss a beat. That's what we have. We have like a pit crew that's like, you just put a new tire on. It's like brand new. And I mean, that's very cool to have. And it's a thankless job, and it's not easy, and it's management of that for the players. And a lot of these players have never had to be on the bench, let alone, just the dynamics. I mean, it seems so fun and easy, but it's a team, and it's a role that you have to like understand and be engaged and be ready to go.
There's so much in what you just said that, having watched it from courtside and watching the evolution and then the redirection of it, there are core players that have long history and deep resumes. And then you have the high school, the college stars who I just say they're not coming off the bench. You're just in your rotation. They just have different levels of that and jobs within the rotation. But let's go through the roster so we give people some idea about how deep and wonderful this team is. The starter for me, if you wanted to identify, and because she was on air today, and you and I have recently talked about her, that Kendall White is such a unique human being who happens to utilize those human skills and her humanity to lead this team on the volleyball court. Is that a fair statement about Kendall White?
Yes, and I think she is very comfortable in her who she is and her personality, and even her ability to perform at the highest level and continue to have that personality. And that's a work for or a job, a task for anybody to be able to control the emotions while you're playing. And so that's something for her. I mean, she's so high, like just a very emotional player that her communication, her play, and then the actual emotion that she feels. I mean, that's you have to manage that stuff when you're playing and competing at that level.
For anybody around the game to find somebody that you can say is the most efficient player with the volleyball on her fingertips as anybody in the league, that's a huge statement.
Yeah. I mean, there is, I mean, but every team has someone that has to kind of fill that role, but it's the consistency of it.
Yeah.
Like who is doing that consistently. And it's not just the physical play. Like I said, it's the communication. It's the energy of it and behind it that keeps it going.
Yeah, and plus she's that way all the time. If there's ever a quiet moment on the team bus, Kendall is going to be the person that resets the temperature of the room.
Right. Yeah.
and perfectly so. Through this roster, you have elite performers from first player to last player. But a player that has shown a presence, Brooke Nuneviller, plays this game at such a high rapidity and such a freedom. Like you don't like to watch her. To say how athletic Brooke Nuneviller is hard to explain to people outside the game. From the back row, like I nicknamed her Back Row Brooke because she just is violent and athletic and explosive from the back line and is just a playmaker all at 5'10".
Yeah. She's so, like, when you talk about an intense competitor, that is her. But she's so dialed in. I wouldn't say she's high emotion at all. I mean, she is like all in, very focused. But she's probably one of the most intense athletes I've coached. But I also love that about her. I mean, she's so locked into like what she needs to do as a team, and everyone respects that about her. She is. I mean, she is our court, kind of that court captain, and she has the pulse of the team. But it's like how she plays. It's like a player that can play with no words. Because she's going to do it through her actions.
Yeah. I mean, and just she's very cerebral as well. Her attack, they're purposeful. It's mission based. You have the blessing and the benefit of having two exceptional setters that you keep in rotation and you use based on situation and circumstance, as you said before in post-match interviews, that they attack and approach differently, but ultimately cover everything that's required no matter when you call on them. Talk about Nadi and Sydney, because those are two incredible setters, and they are the pace setters and the quarterbacks for the Supernovas team.
Yeah, and I would attest to their relationship and the ability for them to share that role in the most genuine way. And I've had conversations with them just, through the start of all of this. But it is a competition, and they know that. And they also, I think it's a trust with the players and the team and our staff that we're going to make the best decision because we're all here for the same reason and we're all in it together. And there are moments like it isn't easy to make changes and decisions in the moments when you are dealing with a momentum sport. But there have been moments where we made a big change and it is seamless. And that to me as a coach and as a staff, we can't speak on it enough and appreciate it enough, because that is the ultimate sacrifice for putting the team first and being a great teammate and recognizing that's what the team needs. And there is zero like rebuttal. I don't think anyone should be happy or accepting their role, but they're all great teammates, and they all know that we're all doing this to get the win, and those two exemplify it more than anyone, any two players we have.
We're talking to Coach Laura Bird Kuhn. She is the interim head coach of the Supernovas. And as we're talking about the roster, the thing that you just mentioned was trust. And we talked about it in that your ability to look down the bench at any given point to somebody and trust that they will get the job done, whatever the task is you're going to give them. But they also trust you in putting in the work and being prepared so that when you call on them, they can produce it. I think it's understated how impressive it is to watch a coach manage this level of volleyball talent, keep it on the same page, and to keep it moving forward. So, Coach, let me say that. It's impressive to watch because there are professional teams around, no matter what the sport is, who can't manage the people attached to this level of talent when it seems like in a new thing, everybody would want to get theirs. What is your key? What's your philosophy to making sure that everybody stays connected, stay on the same page, and play for each other?
Well, I think it's a testament to the roster that was built, like with Shelton, and even to the staff that he brought in around them. All of us have been here since day one. And so I think the relationships and that communication and that deeper trust was built from day one. And we are bringing players back that we had in training camp, throughout the season. They're still here. They're all bought in. And so I think that is where it all started. And it's the team. I mean, they have a deep relationship. We've been here since day one, so we got to build that relationship. And so I think it's just that communication. And I am just very direct. I keep things very matter of fact. I'm not going to change who I am or what we're trying to do just because of a situation, a circumstance, or the timing of the season at this point. It's like we just have to be in this together and continue to communicate. And it isn't easy. The roles that continue to change and evolve, they come with dialogue and conversation, and they're not easy conversations. And I don't think it's like this, happy-go-lucky emotion every day, day in and day out. I mean, yeah, you've been on the road with us. You've seen the grind of it. So I just think it comes down to communication and being clear and honest with everyone. That is the bottom line. You just keep it real and keep it clear and honest with them.
Coach, there's so many really cool stories about the people under your watch. But I think the story for me is Jess Shaven-Landsman. And just listen, every superhero story requires friction and a change of decision and rework to get to another place, and then getting some sign that you made the right decision and that all those talents and skills and stress that you went through was actually worth it. Tell the folks about Jess, because she's such a unique story.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I coached against Jess when she was at Iowa State and I was at Kansas. And then she went and played sand. She went and played sand at LSU. And I actually just sat with her when we were on the road in Orlando. And I was like, how much did that change your game? Because she was a huge arm, like point scorer at Iowa State. But I would have never guessed that she would go and be some type of ball control sand player.
Yeah.
But that changed her whole game. It took it to the next level. And she even says that. She's like, there's no way I could be playing on the right side and have the shots that I have now if I wouldn't have played sand. And I'm like, I completely agree with you. Like, I played against her. She was a left. I coached against her. And that's why she's so dominant on the left still, because that was her position. But she is. I mean, she started a family, got married, has a baby. And then, this league starts and it's like, well, is there a chance? Yeah. Just come to our camp, come to mini camp. And then she works her butt off and gets in shape. We didn't know what to expect. And she the epitome of what we talk about, earning your spot. I mean, she really has. And she showed up, and from the mini camp on, she's just been working hard and putting her head down and just doing work. And that's what it takes. I mean, that's what you want out of a player. That's what coaches love to see. And she's a great teammate. All of them are. Fun to be around.
Yeah, I mean, through all of that, right? And that she's teaching and coaching and a mom. And without any promise to her that this thing could happen for you. You built, I mean, you were honest with her and said, listen, I'm not really sure how this plays out, but if you'd like to try, come on. And she crushed it. She absolutely crushed it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fantastic that, again, open-minded coaches who identify talent, that there was a thing that was there. Some coaches wouldn't have even broached the idea, because if it's not guaranteed, a lot of people don't want to go through it. I'd say it's spectacular.
Yes, I would agree. A lot of people are scared of the unknown, but I would say we are very much, our staff is based on, like, we're going to earn it. We're going to train you guys, and you're going to show us what you got, and we're going to put the best out there to get wins. And I would say they would believe that. I think anyone that's been in our gym would believe that right now. It would be a similar story with Allison Mayfield. You know, I coached her at Kansas, but she's been coaching for 3 years.
Yeah.
She hasn't played. She played overseas forever, but it's the same thing. It's like, we'll just come and see what happens at training camp, at mini camp. So yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes it unique, but it also is what makes the gym competitive.
There's so much depth, and there's so much balance. And again, for most coaches, looking down the bench doesn't always equate to having an answer when you look down there. And having that. But you did a thing in Orlando where you looked down the bench and you were shorthanded, but you looked down the bench and you called on Maggie Cartwright. And I don't want to bury the lead in the result, but I want to ask about the work that she had put in and the trust that she had put in, that at some point there might be an opportunity for her. And when you called on her in a big moment, Maggie Cartwright showed out. Coach, talk to me about Maggie Cartwright.
Yeah. I mean, these kids just came off their college season, these players, and they were, ready to go. And so she's been competing in our gym, but I would say our whole team has. I feel like I've said it, we called on multiple players. She was the most recent one that hasn't really seen a lot of time, and she went in and she, like you said, showed out. She was playing against one of her teammates, Jill, but we talked about it. We talk about all the stuff as a staff, like where we go, what decisions you make in these moments, like what this match holds, how practices have been going. So we kind of talked through that stuff before the matches, but we kind of talked about it in the first Orlando match to get her in or to see what she got. And then we talked through it. We had an opportunity, so we gave it to her. I talked to Jess after that, and Nia knew that she could very well get an opportunity also. And that's the thing about our team. We have multiple pieces and multiple people we could go to. So in that moment, we just thought Maggie was having a good week. She's super aggressive offensively, and that's what we needed. We needed a spark, because in that second set, our offense kind of tailed off. So we went with Maggie to light us up a little bit, and she sure did.
Coach, it's, and again, it's appreciated. And I have a much higher level of respect for the game and the talent and the skill and the work that's put in. That's part of why we were excited to become the flagship, so it would give us access and let us see how amazing these women are. And then to meet the people behind the athletic ability, because you need to personify it. We're going to give away 4 tickets to the next Supernovas home game, but tomorrow we take off for Atlanta, and it's an opportunity, and every night's an opportunity. But the 2 teams that sit at the top of the Pro Volleyball Federation are the Atlanta Vibe and the Omaha Supernovas. They've met once before on opening night. Both teams have evolved since then. What's your message to your team and to the fans about traveling to Atlanta? You don't want to get too bought in, right, to get even or to get right. But this is a statement that the rest of the federation is watching what will happen in Atlanta. So what's the message heading to Atlanta?
I think it's just like any other match. It's, like you can build it up and people are going to do that. People always do that. But it's any other match, and we have to execute our game plan, and it's always first contact. No matter, they're very pin strong, pin heavy, but you still want to get them out of system. You still want to serve tough and keep pressure on them. And then at the same time, we need to be in system. We need to take care of our first contact with our passing so that we have all of our options and we can have balance. I think the first time we played them, obviously it was the opening match. I think we've come a long way with our competitive chemistry. That's something that in those first 2 weeks of our season, we challenged the team and we talked about that. And I think everyone has seen us grind and figure out ways to win on the road. And I'm excited for us to be on the road again. I know we've been on the road a lot, but I think this team kind of thrives in that atmosphere, and it'll be a great match. Like, we know it's going to be a great match. Every match is going to be a great match. And yeah, there might be a little more edge to this one because we opened the season against them. But at the end of the day, I think every match kind of has its character and its personality due to who we're playing, just because they all know some of these players. But yeah, this one will be fun, and it'll be a very high level. I'm sure it will be.
Coach, again, thank you for giving us access to the work that you do and this roster of yours, and letting us tell the story of the Omaha Supernovas from up close. And I want to thank you publicly for your welcoming vibe to Rico and myself as we travel. We try to stay out of the way a little bit, but as you know, as you've now figured out about Rico, Rico has no boundary and wants to be as close as possible. So
it's so fun, but that's what it's all about. I mean, when you have your people that you get to travel with, and I mean, we're all kind of developing our personality as a team and a group together, but it's fun. I mean, I think that's cool when we can kind of bond as an organization and a family, really, because that's what you do. I mean, you spend that much time together. So I appreciate you guys putting the time in to be with us. So it's special. It's a special time, and I think it's cool for you guys to get to learn our personality as it evolves.
yeah, it's good stuff. Coach Laura Bird, Kuhn. Coach, thank you. I will see you tomorrow, and you are appreciated. As much as I'm a growing fan of the sport, I'm a fan of Coach Bird, because how you do this, you're constantly teaching, you're constantly informing, even for those know-it-alls in the world like myself. You make yourself available. No, it's a statement. Not all coaches are going to teach as the opportunity happens, and they set up walls, and you haven't set up those walls. You've been yourself, and that's incredibly wonderful to be around. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you guys too. Maybe Rico and I have that in common. We don't have boundaries.
Yeah,
there we go.
That is plus both of you had match shoe game. You can bond over that as well. Coach,
there you go.
Coach, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for what you do, and let's get a win in Atlanta.
All righty. See you tomorrow.
There
Thanks.
it is. There she is, Coach Bird. Laura Kuhn of the Omaha Supernovas. We'll go to break. We'll give away 4 tickets with a trivia question when we come back to Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Delicious, decadent, scrumptious, delightful. What other words can I use to describe something so good I can't even tell it's healthy? How about heavenly? Chef Bob created heavenly waffles with an incredible fluffy recipe packed with protein and loaded with a plethora of angelic toppings to elevate the experience beyond the typical waffle and syrup. Don't just take our word for it. Join us for Heavenly Waffles Wednesday to experience heaven for yourself.
Enjoy Heavenly Waffles this Wednesday, February 28th from 8 to 11 a.m. in our 93.7 The Ticket studios. Parking is available along 11th Street and in nearby garages.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Thursday, February 29th versus the Atlanta Vibe at Gas South Arena in Atlanta. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we have some really big savings for you right now. Our new crossover sale is underway. New Terrains, Equinoxes, and Trailblazers starting at $23,290. That's right, $23,290. Also, we've continued our huge Sierra and Silverado truck sale with over $10,000 off new pickups. You heard right, over $10,000 off list. Koppel truly has a small town feel with big city deals. We're right down 144th Street or at KoppelCars.com. Stock numbers G260980 and C119824.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Wind advisory in effect until midnight tonight as north winds could gust 45 close to 50 miles per hour, slowly subsiding overnight. A bitterly cold night on the way. We'll drop down to 10 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny skies, west winds a little breezy at 15 to 20 to the high of around 40. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Ready to upgrade your combine in 2024? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine to fit your operations needs. Choose from 4.5% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver, followed by John Deere financial rates with approved credit through the end of February. When you purchase the pre-owned S or X Series combine from Landmark, know you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running. View our current inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go. Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Book your appointment today at nebraskaautodetail.com.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to old school. DP, Austin Orman. Jay Foreman is preparing with Nick Sainert for a good one tonight. First, they're going to tip off at 6:30. Pregame show at 6:15. So we will go here until about 6:10, then go to break and then hand it over to them. So folks know what's going on, and then we'll get you into the pregame show. I want to thank Coach Bird, Laura Kuhn of the Omaha Supernovas for stopping in and sharing what is Pro Volleyball Federation and the Supernovas. And I can't say, I hope I'm not understating or underselling how just impressive. These athletes are ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I'm working on a thing. So Austin, you still consider yourself a pretty good athlete, right?
I consider myself washed, but I know I used to have it in me.
Like there's a thing, like there's a button that for a moment you could do a thing.
I may not be as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. How about that?
So imagine that I could set it up for you to go to practice and for you to try to block or for you to get a kill against the Supernovas. Would you be interested in trying to see exactly how fast, how hard a ball is hit in the Pro Volleyball Federation?
I would be much more interested in at least attempting to swing more so than standing in front of said swing.
Right.
I was on air in peak Michaela Fecky at Nebraska era. I'm on record as saying you probably could not pay me enough money. I know you say everyone has a price. I don't know if you pay me enough money to stand in front of Michaela Fecky swinging, and that's a whole team of that. Not more.
A part of me wants to have Rico stand at like the corner line of the sideline and the end line and just have him stand there and have Supernovas just hit shots at him. And then there's a part of me that wants to see if Strick can still elevate.
Stricky would tell you he can't. He's
Right.
not doing that.
Right,
The jumping he's not doing.
Right. Like I think to have the pro athletes in the room evaluate pro athletes would be a way, a thing, and it's a thing that I want to do. But I also want to ask, but it would have to be listeners with insurance. like that would have to be
insurance.
Like full pay if somebody hit me with a brick, get it covered and fixed without liability or anger towards 93.7 The Ticket.
Well, here's the thing. I was also denied life insurance, so I might not be your guy. DP.
Right? Like, can I ask listeners, would they be interested in receiving serve even to try to return serve?
Just like hitting a curveball, right?
Nah, dog. Nah, dog. Like I wonder what that is. So what we're gonna do to the text line 424-645-5685. If you can text in and tell us the last university that Coach Bird coached at, the last university she coached at. We'll give you 4 passes to
pick me.
To the we will give you and your family 4 passes to the next Supernovas home game, or you can pick the one you want to go to. How's that? You don't have to go to the next one. You can pick the next one that you want to go to. So you can do that somewhere, and it is for you to get to know this team and what goes on. A couple other things in play. One, did you get the news on this week's NCAA College Basketball Player of the Week? Did you get the news, Austin Norman?
Was that the I'm trying to think. I saw the softball news.
This week's Player of the Week in college basketball is from Nebraska, Omaha.
Hey,
Hunter Salas.
Good for that young man.
Hunter Salas. Drew, you got it. You got it right. She was at Texas A&M. Well done. Shoot me your information and we will forward you tickets. Yeah, Hunter Salas with Wake Forest. And Wake Forest is balling at a high level. And I think it's pretty interesting, right? That a player from Nebraska, can you tell me, do you recall another player from Nebraska winning Player of the Week in college basketball?
Nationally,
and I
not
don't,
off the top of my head.
Right. Like, I don't know.
I'm sure Mike Dom got it in the Summit a few times. Chucky, I don't know if he ever got Big Ten Player of the Week. Definitely got Big Ten Freshman of the Week, but not National
Player of the Week. So text line as well, if that has happened, please let us know. Drew also says this. He says, so much basketball going on right now in Lincoln. Girls of Boys State, Prairie Wolves in the D3 tourney. Huskers going for their first tourney win. What more could we ask for? Wins. I keep it simple when it comes to Husker basketball. Win the next game. Especially, again, late February, March. Hey, just win
the next
game. Whatever happens after that, we can mess with. But win the next game so that we can celebrate. And I think the women's performance was big. That's like that could have been a gotcha, catcha sort of deal.
And they had 29-point lead.
Right. Like that, to do that. And then for the men, and I'm catching, I had to catch it on replay. Here's what I tried to digest. That it is actually a good thing that we don't know who the go-to guy is for Nebraska. Because everybody has a shot. Everybody has an opportunity to contribute. Everybody has an opportunity to make a play. Some people will say that if you don't have a go-to player, you don't have a really good team. But I think in this particular case, it actually appears that Nebraska men's basketball, same for the women, both simply take it possession by possession and try to make good decisions with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a recipe for March success?
It can be. So can having a dominant player. We've seen it both ways. March, to me, is more about matchups than anything else, So it'll, the selection committee, I think, will determine that more than anything. Have
you seen those the latest bracketologies?
DP, I've talked about it all week.
Last
week too. I've seen it.
Here's why is the NCAA bracket committee, those people who put those things together, why are they mad at Nebraska women's team?
Haters.
Because every single one has put them in the same bracket with South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like I looked at 4.
They good.
I looked at 4 bracketology for women, for the women's side of things. Had Nebraska in round 2, they're in the same bracket with South Carolina, which means they got to beat somebody to get there. Okay, fine. They also had them in a bracket with, drumroll, somebody else from the SEC.
Oh boy. Cool. Thanks, committee.
Like I was
you won.
Like, what are you mad at? What are you absolutely mad at? Like, come on. Like, if you're telling me that Nebraska's a 10 seed, 7, 8, 9, or 10 seed, whatever that is, you can't tell me that every time you spin the wheel, that every time they end up in South Carolina's bracket. Like, can they get 10, like anybody else? It was spectacular. And then for the men, I'm starting to look, because they all want to put Nebraska at 10, 9 or 10. I'm like, okay, fine. Until, and I need your real honest opinion on this. In all of those situations and scenarios, they also had Michigan State as a 7 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, your thoughts? Have I bumped my head? Am I spinning a little bit? What is going on? Does that make sense?
Numbers never lie, DP. Numbers, man. They game the system. I don't care that the Dukes beat them. Numbers don't care that the Dukes beat them. They beat Baylor. That's carrying a lot of water. They lost every other big game. Michigan State, I think, still carries some reputational weight, even though I don't think they should over the last 3 years and change necessarily. And I've said this on Nebraska. Better, I think, better record, better head-to-head result. Maybe didn't play as many upper-level teams in the non-conference as Michigan State did, but I also find it weird that we reward losses more than wins sometimes. So I would say Nebraska's resume is probably more comparable to a mid-9 or a high 10, but I think the committee views Nebraska as a mid-10 to high 11.
Which, they've had 3 really good wins, and yet they are still on the last bid that isn't a part of the last 4 in.
Yeah.
I
name on the front.
But
it's unfair, but it's name on the front.
But we're supposed to be like, there's supposed to be a formula that holds everything into account.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for college basketball.
Supposed to be.
That if you're playing well, you're beating the teams that you're supposed to beat, you're playing the way you're supposed to play. Let's say, for the sake of this, that Nebraska beats Ohio State on the road. Still a 10?
See, that's a tricky one because Ohio State is a quad 1 win, as the NCAA will categorize it.
Which,
doesn't
question mark?
feel like it
Right?
to me.
Question mark,
so,
right?
Yeah, I mean, you get another quad 1 win in the books and hope they don't fall too far. But no, I think unless Nebraska goes 0-3 or Nebraska makes it to Sunday in the Big Ten tournament, they're a mid-9 to a 10.
They can only go 0-2, right? They can only, whether there's 2 games before. Do you think they go 0-2?
They better not.
Like, they can't lose to Rutgers, right?
Rutgers is sneaky tough. I'm honestly
at home in a sellout crowd, because it's announced that game is sold out. Like,
all those soft factors have been taken into account. I think Rutgers is going to be closer than people think. I hope it's not, but I'm getting less worried about Ohio State, slightly more worried about Rutgers, and I'm honestly most worried about Michigan.
What is Nebraska's current record?
They're 20-8, DP.
Okay. The Nebraska Huskers have won 20 games.
They made it.
20 games. If we had this conversation this summer and said, with 2 games left,
3
games left, they've won 20.
Mm-hmm.
Are we happy? Do we trust?
Hard to feel bad about that.
That's the question. Do we trust yet? Austin, do you trust this team?
I trust that they'll play for 40 minutes. I trust that they'll be generally solid.
That is so Nebraska. That is
okay. So DP just said there's sports outside of Nebraska. And I've seen the story far too many times.
Right. Like, I get it.
I'm trying to project outside experiences onto internal feelings. Right. So yes, Nebraska is a good team. I said as much repeatedly during On the Block today, but Nebraska's not dominant. So no, I don't trust them fully. I trust them more than years past, but it's a different. I don't think they're UConn.
I love Husker fans. I love y'all so much. Like, it really isn't like a part of me. That part of me as a basketball fan just wants to say, well done. Like, just well done. Like, you've earned the right for me to put down all of my angst for the rest of the season. Like, you won 20 games. You've improved enough from what it was 2 years ago, which was an absolute duck fart. Just brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And you won 20 games. I would like to just wish for Husker fans just to say,
Can I slightly amend?
Please.
Be allowed to do that? Okay.
Please. Yes, you are.
I think because they hit 20, the conversation has shifted.
Okay.
If you say just based off the regular season, they win 20, yeah, step back.
Mm-hmm.
Had some really good highs, a couple really great wins, a couple questionable losses, but they happen to everyone in the course of a season.
Mm-hmm.
Where my lack of trust, such as this, comes from is that now there's another picture to look at. So you've asked me to trust the regular season, sure.
Yeah.
But wasn't the point to get out of the regular season to what's next? I've never seen Nebraska out there in what's next, so how can I trust them?
Yeah, all of it is fascinating to me. Like, I just have to say it. We'll throw the break. We'll have a trivia question for you. We're going to give away 4 more Supernovas tickets, and we're also going to give away 4 Lincoln Stars tickets for Friday night at the Icebox. We will do both of those when we come back to Old School.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's specials through February 27th is whole brisket for just $4.99 per pound and $1.50 off all nuts, including Treat Bake Shop and Twin Springs pecans. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through March 3rd, enjoy USDA Choice Top of Nebraska Sirloin for $4.99 per 10-ounce cut. Lots of options on fresh fish. 30 packs of Busch Light for just $18.99. And for ticket listeners only, 3-pound packs of Fairway's fresh ground beef for just $2.99 per pound. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Stop by the brand new Midwest Bank this Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. for their grand opening. J&DP will be broadcasting on-site for Old School, and there will be tons of prizes available for anyone who stops by, as well as complimentary food and drinks. That's this Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. at Midwest Bank on 70th and Pioneers.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
We're speaking to Husker baseball assistant Lance Harvell.
Seemed like there was a pretty heavy focus on the JUCO ranks this offseason. What went into the decision behind that approach?
There's something about junior college baseball. You know, if you've been through it, you know that life, what it's about. You number one, you gotta have a passion to play baseball. You gotta grind. Those guys are tough. They're playing doubleheaders, every time out. So you know kind of what you're getting.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
DP, Austin Orman, we're going to go till about 6:10. Give time for a break and let Nick Sandert and Jay Foreman warm up, stretch the hamstrings, get the vocal cords loose. It is going to be a week of basketball on the Ticket, high school basketball. We'll carry you through the state tournaments, both boys and girls, get you through over the next bit, and we appreciate your time and tolerance as we, some of the programming, just adjust, and we appreciate that. We will, in fact, have Supernovas Thursday night from Atlanta, and that's a part of the trivia question. 4 Supernovas tickets, next home game of your choice. You can tell us who leads the Pro Volleyball Federation in aces.
Rico and I had this conversation about kills before.
Aces. Who leads the Pro Volleyball?
Oh, I know. Yep. I got it.
There you go. So you can text that in if you would. And then we have 4 tickets to see the Lincoln Stars Friday at the Icebox. And again, that's another case in point. Again, if you've won recently, you can't win again. It's not Las Vegas, duh. If I asked you who leads the WNBA in aces, the answer would be Vegas, duh. But we're talking about Pro Volleyball Federation. Service aces. There's a player. Tell me who. But for the Stars tickets, and again, you can choose. If you want to go Friday, you can. But if you just want vouchers to go to another future home game. Most people can tell you, Austin, who leads the NBA in scoring. Most can tell you. Yeah, fair enough.
I think so.
Yeah. How many can tell you who the number 2 scorer? How many can tell you who the number 2 scorer is, leading scorer in the NBA?
I think people could get there eventually, but I don't think they know it.
Well, if they can text it in, I'll give them tickets to see the Lincoln Stars. Just how brilliant this is. That Giannis is 3rd. Kevin Durant is 5th. Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, De'Aaron Fox, Trae Young. Jokic is at 13.
All the way down at 26 points per game.
Luka is 1. I asked who's 2. And 308 is on point.
Ooh, see, I'm seeing different here. I am seeing Luka at 2.
See, depending on
based on qualified number of games played.
Yeah. So if you're going to just say average points per game, Luka at 34, Shea at 30, Luka at 37, Shea at 31. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because on the other website, the guy doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah. Shea. Yeah. SGA getting it done. Having is it, would this be defined as a career changing year? Or does it not land?
Oh, it lands, but Shea was already that good.
He was already 31 points a game good?
Yeah.
He was already in the top 5 players good?
He was always 31 points good. He probably wasn't top 5 good.
Who are your top 5 players
in the NBA right now?
Currently.
Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Tatum, Shea, or Steph.
We're really at a point where we're going to take Shea over Steph.
I'm getting there. And here's the thing. I'm a Steph truther. Like, it's Magic and Steph in some order, 1, 2 for point guards.
Yeah, I'm trying to you have.
And I know Oscar, and I know Kuzi.
Right. I mean, all questions.
I get them, but
Zeke.
it's Magic and Steph for me.
I'm really gonna say that Zeke, like you could take Magic, Oscar, Stock, Steph, Zeke, and any order at any level at any point. You could just say, okay, throw it in a hat. Like would any given night, depending on who I'm playing and who I'm putting next to him, because who putting next to him, if you're gonna take the 4 best players at 2, 3, 4, and 5, John Stockton's your guy. John Stockton's your guy. If I need a facilitator to keep everybody on time and in place,
probably Stockton.
And I have the other 4, the best of the best of the best of the best. Yeah. If I'm going to have Bill Russell at center and I need the points, I might go with Oscar because I need, or Magic where I can kind of elevate them, but nobody's going to leave Russell to have Magic in the post. They're just not going to let you do that,
right?
Except the Sixers that year.
Right. Specifically those
that
Sixers.
Year, they are, which still is one of the great mysteries of
Don't ask me. I wasn't there, DP.
Oh, I was there.
I get it, but I wasn't there.
I cursed at the TV that night. What are you doing?
Don't leave him. Don't do it.
Why are you letting him? He hit a baby hook. You let him hook. You let him use a baby hook. Like what? Brad from Boston says, "What about Bird?" So here's the thing. So if Bird's your 3 or your 4. First of all, where would you play Bird in your 5?
Ooh, see, again, you're talking to a modern basketball guy where ideally I want Bird as my 4.
Okay.
But that probably means that I'm losing access to like a Tim Duncan or Kevin Garnett. So I probably got to slide him down to the 3.
Giannis, right?
See, Giannis,
yeah,
he's a 4, but he's a 5. Giannis is best at his 5, just like Anthony Davis is his best at a 5.
But Giannis isn't in the conversation for best 5. He's in the conversation for best 4. He's top 10 in the big 4 at 4. There's not 10 better 4s in history, NBA history than Giannis.
Again, it all depends how you classify these guys.
MVP, winning.
Like, I love Giannis. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to knock Giannis. I'm just trying to figure out how to classify him.
Well, here's the thing. He's in the Karl Malone conversation for points, production, etc. without chip, right? That if Malone played another era, he's going to be in that unique space. Then you got to ask the question, where are you going to put Dirk?
Dirk's a 4.
Dirk's a 4. Would you take Dirk over Giannis?
Again, depends on who else I get to draft. They're different guys. Like we're comparing them, but I think it's fair to compare them.
Who are your 5 4s? I'm gonna filthy the pool by mentioning Elvin Hayes right now. Okay,
that's fair.
So there.
Duncan, Garnett,
and
Durant,
you're not wrong. And you're not
Nowitzki.
wrong. Is Durant a 3 or 4?
I think he's a 4. Ideally, I think it's where he's his best. A 3's game and a 4's body in the modern NBA, he's best at the 4. Not much power in the forward, but I think he lines up best at the 4. Because then you play him at the 4, Baca at the 5.
Okay.
For that Thunder team.
Who are your best 5s?
Wilt, Bill, Shaq, Admiral, and Hakeem.
You took Admiral over Kareem.
Oh, Kareem, duh. I'll take Kareem over Hakeem then.
You take Admiral over both of those?
Replace Olajuwon with Kareem.
I'm old enough to have watched Olajuwon versus Admiral in real time. I love David Robinson. Love him.
Mm-hmm.
Not Olajuwon. Olajuwon was a killer. Olajuwon won the chip with very little help.
He did.
He took knock-knees Kenny to the chips, multiple chips. Now, he couldn't get over the hump with Jordan, but that could be said for Patrick Ewing.
Anybody.
Like, there's a whole, right? Right? So, Olajuwon was just, listen, if you had put Olajuwon and Duncan together in their primes, Jordan's career would look entirely different.
It would. It's true.
If Ralph Sampson is healthy,
Ralph was that dude.
Because Ralph was that dude.
Mm-hmm.
So the 5s are exceptional in the space, like trying to figure out what the 5s are. The most difficult position is the 3.
Again, it all depends on classification.
But I need yours. I need of the Fighting Ormans, right? The Fighting Ormans. And Missy Muddock, you're not wrong in saying that, okay, give me Bird over all those 4s. But
I put him in the 3 conversation.
But he was, remember, he played with McHale.
Yeah.
So McHale was the 4. He was the de facto 4. Parrish was the 5. Bird was the 3. But Bird did it. And here's the elegance of Bird, is that if you had him at 3 or 4, he's in the Duncan conversation because there are those that put Duncan at 5, not at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Measure by whatever era you want to measure by. Now the 3. This is where it gets really saucy.
Bron, Bird, Dr. J.
Yeah. Now we go to school. Yeah. Because I would think that Duncan at 3 is in that conversation. I mean, not Duncan, but Durant.
Yeah, I see the argument for it. If he's a 3, he's there. If he's a 4, he's knocking on the door.
This is the dude we need in this. We need Harrison. We need Harrison.
See, is Elgin Baylor that dude?
Yes, he is. Unequivocally? Alvin was LeBron before. Like, you got to remember, like, he did it. A guy they don't talk about is Connie Hawkins, who Connie Hawkins was just a whole nother phenom freak.
Pippen in that convo?
That's the next thing you ask. But I don't think that.
Who's better, Worthy or Baylor?
Ooh, Baylor. They played in a different time.
They did.
Worthy had Baylor. And here's the thing: we haven't gotten to the 2, because the 2 is where people fight. Because the logo is in 2.
Jordan, Kobe, West.
You can get this so wrong, right? You could get this so wrong. Mind you, there's certain organizations that you have not mentioned who, oh boy, like it's a part of the discussion, right? Like you got to say, wait a minute, how many Lakers do I have in this? Do I have enough Lakers in it? Do I have too many Lakers in it? Do I have too many Celtics? At this point, we've only given one Celtic. Mm-hmm. One Celtic.
Russell and Bird.
Okay, so 2, but still, compared to the Lakers versus the Celtics. Knicks, nothing in the pool, right?
Sorry, Pat.
Pistons, we absolutely skipped over Joe Dumas. We still a question about Zeke. We don't give Bill Laimbeer enough credit for what he did in the space. We got to figure out what to do with Rodman, because he can be any one of several things in this conversation.
Where do you put Rodman?
Rodman is such in his own space of Rodman's.
Is he in the Draymond category? He's 4 or 5.
So ready for this argument, and I want to blow your mind. Dennis Rodman is the greatest utility player in NBA history.
I buy it.
Draymond is second. If I asked you to come up with a third, then you got to go to some people.
Bron.
Well, Bron, if you're going to talk utility, which means that you weren't the best at anything, but you contributed.
And I think that's fair. I mean, Bron hasn't won a lot of scoring titles.
So
he was the key to that.
Oscar may be, like, if you're going to have that conversation that way.
But Russell Westbrook?
Westbrook would be like fair, right?
Kawhi?
I don't know that history is going to be
caliber.
Right. But I'm not sure that the history will be kind to Kawhi at the level Kawhi deserves.
People sleep on Kawhi this year.
Like Kyrie, if you're going to have the conversation about guard play, you got to figure out what to do with guard play, right? Then you got to figure out what to do with the likes of Dwayne Wade. You got to figure out what to do.
Wade's a 2.
Yep. Okay. So if you put him at 2, right, often matched up with 3s, simply for advantage sake, because they would push a legitimate 2 on the floor who was good at that skill, and then let's take advantage of that. But utility players, like they're guys, think about this, on what some would say is the greatest team to ever exist in the Lakers in that magical run, right? Kurt Rambis didn't do anything exceptionally well except for everything that greatest team required.
So you're talking like glue guys to some degree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Barkley in this conversation anywhere. Where do you put Barkley? 3? 4?
See, I didn't want. I think of him as a 4 in my head.
All right. AD says this. AD says Magic, MJ, Kobe, Duncan, and Keem. That's his lineup. He's got Magic at point guard, MJ at 2, Kobe at 3, Duncan at 4, Akeem at 5. I wouldn't fight that, except I need Captain at 5. I need Kareem.
3.
I need Kareem. Kobe can play. Look, if you got Jordan next to you, that 2 and 3 is still the best 2 and 3 in the history.
I like a bigger 3. I like a bigger 3 personally.
What 3 is going to defend Kobe or MJ? None, except for the dude who's the greatest utility. This is why, listen, in sports talk, sometimes you just have to get into these conversations. Austin Norman, thank you, kind sir.
Anytime, DP.
Get us over to Nick Sainert and Jay Foreman, would you please?
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, will treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Doren. God bless you.
Mosaic is a nonprofit, whole-person healthcare organization that embraces God's call and relentlessly pursues opportunities that empower people with diverse needs to live their best lives. Mosaic in Southeast Nebraska, serving Lincoln and Beatrice, would like to invite you to their monthly Discover the Possibilities tour events. Events are held on the third Wednesday of every month and are a great way to understand Mosaic's mission. To RSVP, please contact Melindy at 402-429-0088 or visit mosaicinfo.org/Southeast Nebraska.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Delicious, decadent, scrumptious, delightful. What other words can I use to describe something so good? I can't even tell it's healthy. How about heavenly? Chef Bob created heavenly waffles with an incredible fluffy recipe packed with protein and loaded with a plethora of angelic toppings to elevate the experience beyond the typical waffle and syrup. Don't just take our word for it. Join us for heavenly